All right. So difficulty four, and what was it? Control con. Yeah. And I'll say daring or control, either one.
Would helm operations give me focus?
Oh yeah, definitely. Even though half the helm operations are falling apart around you.
But River's good, so
That is true.
so I will spend some momentum.
Okay. How much?
I don't know, 3 to give me how many
It
would
for
that give me?
it
3.
will
It
give you
would give me
three.
3.
Yeah, I just do one
So
for one.
so I for task roll I just click 5 at that point then
Yep.
roll.
Yep.
Okay.
Come on, get a complication. I should definitely spend threat to do a complication, but I'm not going to. Wow. All right. Two, three, four, five. So yeah, you got five. So difficulty was four for you. So you got one momentum. So you're up to one momentum. So yeah, you're aiming straight for that artificial wormhole, and you can see that it's basically being it's still in the final stages of being constructed as you're like zooming towards it. But it's still not 100% complete. You can tell that there are several individuals standing. Let me see, where is it? Standing outside in on the on the sphere um, without using EVA suits, and they look kind of like that, the shadows from Babylon 5. And you can see they're like turning it on and off and doing weird things to kind of like test it. So basically, you're aiming for that one, the one time they turn it on, and I'm going to actually roll for the Kelvin ship that is going to try to grab you as you fly past. Let's see, controls probably like 15. It's not even. Well, actually, is it a ship or is it a? I'm gonna keep it a character because it's half living anyway. Let's see. Let's see what happens. It's got to get more than five, and I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, it only got a one. So basically, it flails as you scream, as your shuttle screams past it. More pieces coming off, more of your nanites struggling. Then you can see some of the nanites getting just. I mean, you don't see the individual nanites, but you see like strings of them connected together being strewn out into space. I wonder what would happen. I wonder how the Kelvins could use those later. But anyway, so basically, you're going right towards this wormhole, and you realize, um, as you're heading towards this wormhole, that the size of the wormhole is a little bit bigger than the shuttle, probably like by inches. But that roll was so amazing that you basically kind of thread the needle and crash into a bunch of these monster things that are kind of testing this wormhole. Um, you go in and you can feel and see everything around you kind of become elongated and thinned out as this wormhole begins messing with the molecules of your ship and you. And before you exit on the other side, we're going to jump to the other group to see what they're up to. Um, I would, let's see. Commander Weber, as you are doing your research and providing it to um, Admiral Riker, he kind of looks around and then looks to you and he says, "Mr. Weber, I would like you to work with the base security chief on this investigation. Um, it might mean that you're not here when the conference recommences, but if there is anything that you would like to say or ask during that time, you can direct those inquiries to me or one of my staff, and we will bring them up. But I think if I think it is very important for Lasco and his family, his surviving family, that you conduct this investigation. It looks like we have witnesses saying Lasco's mother, Jill, was the one that actually stabbed him. So probably start with her. Lasco's still recovering in the hospital, but Definitely start with her and see if you can get not a confession. We saw it happen, but a reason, a motive, why she did what she did. If you don't mind, Mr. Weber.
Aye, sir. I will get to that right away.
Thank you. And yeah, so as you depart and head to sick bay or to the brig, sorry, um, we're gonna jump to sick bay or the hospital. Lasco, you are recovering. As you're recovering, and everyone's kind of preparing for your eventual um, hopeful ability to get out of the bed and move about of your own accord. A Romulan walks in to the infirmary, or at least this part of it, and Dr. Tall, you begin hearing arguing outside. A female voice with two male voices. You know that the two males are the security officers. The female you don't recognize, but you hear raised voices. You can't, I mean, there's a wall between you, so you can't really hear what they're saying, but you definitely know someone's out there, and it seems like they want to get in.
Hmm. Okay. I will look at the chief medical and Eli, and I'll tell them to basically stand by my side and make sure that the area is protected somewhat. We still have a sick man in the bay, and we don't need any complications.
Uh, they nod, and
And I'll head to the door.
all right. And when you open it, you see a Romulan woman standing there. She looks between the two security officers at you, and she says, You are the one that accessed my program.
What program? And who are you?
I am Dr. Crestrew of the Sharvanek. You are not on our holodeck?
Ah, that program. I see. Well, it was more of a test, really. I wanted to see what it could do, more or less.
She looks past you and at the half Cardassian man on the bed, and she says, What happened to him?
He was injured in a fight, so we had to get him back to shape.
She looks between the two guards that are standing at the door, and she says, I am Sub Commander Crestrew of the Charvanek. You have no need to hold me. I am a doctor. And they both look to you, Dr. Tall, and the Chief Medical Officer. The Chief Medical Officer turns to you, and I keep calling him that because I haven't given him a name yet. And he says, uh, Do you know her? I mean, she is a doctor. She could assist, but I think we've done most of the hard work.
That is a good point. And I look at the Romulan doctor. Is there anything else that you would like to do here? Is there anything else we can help you with? Because we are pretty much done in a way here. The patient is stabilizing. We have administered an antidote to his poisoning. We should be fine in a moment.
She just nods and says, Very good. No, I didn't know this. She kind of gestures with her hands. All this had happened when I accessed my program and saw that someone else had done so, and I decided to come and see who it was. It was easy enough to figure out who. Our holodecks, of course, have cameras, so I knew that you were a doctor and that you were on this base. But I just wanted to see who you were. After all, and it's not often a Trill will access a program like that.
Right. Well, if I broke any taboo or anything like that, my apologies. Of course, I didn't mean to do that. I spoke with Lieutenant Lasco, I believe his name was, and Commander Tenson, and we basically went through the program together just to see what it had, and that's more or less it. So I did have permission. I didn't go there,
Yes,
voluntarily.
Commander Tennyson. He
Yes.
he is an adequate commander, but the program is mine, and I am the chief medical officer of that ship. So please,
Oh, is it?
yes, please before you access any more medical data, you come and see me first. That is all I ask.
We should talk more. I think I do think I like your program. I'd like to see what it can offer
It is a
from a
meant,
medical's perspective, of course.
of course, it is meant for interrogation.
Of course,
That is
but
all.
that aside, yes. Well, if there is anything else you would like from me or from anyone around here, I will be staying here for a while to take a look at our patient, see that he gets well, and you're welcome to stay here if you want. We're all doctors here, so
Well, it seems that being something other than a member of Starfleet means I cannot enter this room.
how so?
Your guards prevented me from entering.
Oh, I, I'll speak with them. You can enter and stay here as long as you like. It's fine.
Is this Cardassian man some kind of important person?
Well, of that I'm not quite sure yet. When I saw him, at least when he was in that fight, he was injured, so we took him to this facility and we treated him as much as we can. But of course, we still need to sort of question him once he wakes up, once he's fully ill. But he could be someone important for all I know. I have no idea.
Oh,
As doctors, of course, you know that our first priority is to heal the injured, treat them.
sure.
I'm the XO of the Enterprise D.
Ah, there you go.
She says, well, I never knew that an XO would have 4 guards when the perpetrator was supposedly in the brig. That is all I am saying.
Yes, well, I brought these guys with me. I wasn't really sure whether whether another attempt would be made on his life, so I figured it's a good idea to bring these guys with us. And of course, I don't think you have met these other 2 gentlemen here, and I point at Eli and the chief medical officer. Eli at your service, and our chief right here.
Yes, I am not here to meet Starfleet people. I'm here only to find out who accessed my program, and now that I have done that, I will be on my way. It looks like your Cardassian friend will recover.
Yes.
Good day then. Jolan True. And she moves and walks out.
Okay.
Eli looks over to you and says, well, that wasn't awkward and weird at all.
It's the Romulans.
Indeed.
Yes.
They're very suspicious people.
No, really?
Well,
Alright.
given your position, Lasco, or is that if that's even your name, given the attempt on your life, I'd say they are more than happy to be suspicious. They have earned it, I'd say.
I'm very curious on. He gets up off the table and he goes,
You're not even close to being that much healed yet. Like, even if they
Oh,
manage
really?
to somehow heal all of your injuries, you still have you basically it's your internal organs are still weakened to the point where you need to rest for a little while. Like even in Star Trek, when you get stabbed, you gotta rest for a little while. So yeah, you're gonna be there for a few hours. So that's why I tilted your token a bit. So like you can sit up a little bit, but you definitely cannot walk, not yet.
Take it easy.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you an ensign, lieutenant,
He's
commander?
right now he's a lieutenant commander. I keep waiting for an opportunity to promote him, but we're always doing stuff.
yeah.
Take it easy, lieutenant.
Or he's getting stabbed. Something's always happening.
Can I ask you a quick question, Doctor?
Which
Can
one?
I get a
Which one of the 3? Yes.
Yeah.
Can I get a video conference to one of the prisoners who was in stabbing me?
Oh, you'd like to see your whoever attacked you?
Yes.
Well, I'd have to call the brig, I suppose, security, and get them to give you that, because I'm not sure if I even have privileges to do that myself. I guess, just out of character, let's go call a security then, in this case, wherever the brig is that the attackers are in.
All right. Just looking to see if I made a character sheet for the chief security. Yep, I did. Good. So we'll actually also say that is where, well, first of all, Neil, where do you want Weber to start with this investigation? Do you want him to start in a brig or somewhere else? You are muted.
Thank you. He's been given orders to essentially start there, stroke suggested, so I think it makes perfect sense. I've got no other reason not to go there first.
All right. Let's see. So you enter, and immediately there are two guards standing by the door. Nakata, Lieutenant Commander Nakata, is in the cell closest to you to the left. The Cardassian woman, Jill, is in the larger cell to your right, and some other security officer named, I think one of the new players came up with his character, Zelensky, Ivan Zelensky. He is a security officer, and he is in the far cell over there. And the half Bolian is the security chief. You would be informed that this is Commander Gekel.
Cool. Very quickly, because obviously I wasn't in the game when the attack happened, and such, and obviously Weber wasn't there. What has he been briefed on of this already, and such, just so I know now?
Yeah, basically, as far as like any official reports, is that Lasco encountered his mother Jill talking with these other two individuals, and some kind of physical altercation happened, and he ended up being stabbed by his mother. The list of witnesses are Dr. Tal, who's now working on him, and Eli Kasim, who is her friend.
Okay, cool. Is this just the duty officer on the guy down here?
No, that's the chief of security of the base.
Chief of security.
Yeah. So
okay, cool.
he's not just here, doing paperwork. Like he's doing he is doing important paperwork, reports and stuff that only security chiefs can do. But also he's here to kind of monitor and try to figure out he's basically been told that he's leading the investigation, and you're kind of like his cohort to kind of assist. I mean, mechanically he'll be assisting you, but like in the story you're assisting him.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the case. I'm going to sort of come down to him and say, "Hello, I've been told to report to you. What's his rank to me, just out of interest?"
Commander, same as yours.
He says, "I've been to report to you, Commander. It's a pleasure to meet you.
He reaches out.
Not good circumstances."
He nods and shakes your hand if you take his hand, and nods and says, I was hoping today would be an easy day, but of course I should have known with the Infamous being in town. All we know is what's in the reports. None of them are talking. Obviously, Lasco, he looks at a console and he says, only woke up about 10 minutes ago, so we haven't been able to get his statement, but we are going to definitely do that in very soon. But in the meantime, if you would like to ask any of these fine upstanding citizens, he says with like a lot of sarcasm, he says, any questions, you're more than welcome to.
Fantastic. Quickly, you're saying our Starfleet officers aren't talking. Have they been more wanting to wait till they've spoken to legal counsel, or is it just they seem to be keeping silent, or have we just not got around to speaking to them yet, really?
I think it's a matter of, the Infamous uses two kinds of people. The fanatics who really actually believe what the Infamous is selling, and people that are basically coerced into slavery or servitude. Mr. Nakata over there seems to be the former, as he won't shut up about how awesome the Infamous is. And Mr. Zelensky is in terror and believes that his family is in danger, but other than that, he has not spoken a word.
Okay, how private are these cells able to be made if I was to make questions to them?
You can make them as private as you want. You can even do soundproof if you'd like.
Okay, I think I will start with our esteemed colleague over here first.
Very well.
Yeah, I'm going to just turn to him and say, if you can just have someone by the door, just obviously for safety reasons, be it yourself or. And I look at the top of the room with the guards at the top. One of your colleagues, that would be fantastic.
Do you plan on going into the brig?
Yes.
In that case, I'll stand there.
Okay. And if I'm able to deactivate the force field and go in,
He'll deactivate it for you, and then he'll put it back up when you go in.
And I'm wanting it on private for obvious reasons, albeit I am gonna say I'm gonna use my comm badge or tricorder to record the interview, so it's all legit and above board.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely do that with your comm badge. If you don't want to really take too much tech, like a tricorder, into a cell that could be taken from you, but comm badge is not that. Plus, they can't take the comm badge off you since it's now tamper proof. But yeah, so go ahead and
that's cool.
He'll stand outside.
What's this guy's name again?
Ivan Zelinsky.
What rank?
Hello.
Hello. Did you get your mic working?
Yes, I did.
Awesome.
For now, let's say.
Yeah.
What's Zelensky's rank? Just so now.
If I remember correctly, he's a lieutenant junior grade. Let me double check. Because I didn't really touch the... he's a full lieutenant.
Okay. So, I'm going to walk in and say, hello, Lieutenant. My name is Weber. I basically want to ask you some questions about what happened. You know, that caused all this ruckus.
You know what happened, and I am not going to say anything else.
Actually, I don't. I've been assigned to this case. I know there has been an incident. I would like to know your point of view of things. Whatever's happened at the end of the day, even if I know more than I'm telling you, the fact is, we don't know what you believe is the case. Do not worry, this is recorded. I'm not going to use anything against you that you don't say, anything like that. It's all honesty and openness. This isn't exactly a situation that I want to make things worse for anyone. I want to know what's happening. I want to make sure that we know what's going on and see how we can resolve it, hopefully in as comfortable a way for everyone as possible.
He kind of chuckles when you say that, and he leans back. Leans his back against the wall, and props his leg up, puts his elbow on it, and just stares off into space. And when you look at his eyes, it looks like he's reading something on the wall, but of course there's nothing there.
If you don't wish to be forthcoming with any information, that's entirely your discretion. But I am curious as to know, if nothing else, why a fight broke out anyway. Your officers. I don't really see what's happened here.
He wasn't supposed to be there, and he like clenches his jaw shut, as if he's spoken too much already, and just shakes his head and he says, "You guys wouldn't understand. You never do. It's like we going in circles, and we can defeat the Kelvins, but even so, we still got worse things coming." And he just kind of goes back to being silent and staring at the wall.
Who do you mean by you guys? Do you mean Starfleet? Do you mean humans? I smile as I say that.
He just chuckles again and he says, "It doesn't matter. We're all doomed."
If that's the case, doesn't matter that you tell me. Keeping it to yourself makes no difference. But you may as well do so. Let's get a conversation out of this.
And if whatever I tell you is just going to make things worse, so...
If we're already doomed, I can't see it getting any worse. Go on then. Tell me.
You don't have kids, do you, sir?
No, not to my knowledge.
Well, I do, and I want to keep it that way, so I'm not saying a damn thing.
Are you being threatened?
He doesn't answer.
You claim that we're doomed, yet you believe that there can be protection for at least your family. Are you saying that you believe that you are doomed, but maybe they aren't?
He still doesn't respond.
Look, if there is anything that we can do, bear in mind, at the moment, there is a very good likelihood you are going to be restrained in a former cell for a while if you don't help. But that's why I want to know what's happening. If there's any threat...
Better to be in a cell than dead.
Why do you believe that only being in a cell will protect you?
As you're talking to him, now the force field, which makes it soundproof, makes what you guys are saying soundproof. All it does outside is make them sound muffled, so you can hear the Cardassian woman on the other side is screaming across the room. You can't hear what she's saying, but you can definitely tell that she's screaming. The security chief, Commander Gakel, moves away from the cell, kind of in the middle, and he begins shouting back at her. If you had to guess, it'd be something, him just telling her to quiet down and let them do their job and stuff like that. But you can't make out what she's saying. It could be anything from she's just trying to cause ruckus and chaos to she has important information and nobody's listening. Either way, you can't really tell what anyone's saying. You just know that they're shouting back and forth. Can
I do a quick read of Zelensky's expression with this occurrence?
Yeah, he's kind of not here mentally. He's resigned himself to answering your questions in the same kind of sense as, when you're reading a book and you hear music in the background, like you know it's there and you might respond to it, but your main focus is, not that. And so that's he barely notices what's going on outside of the cell, just as much as he barely notices, what you're saying to him. But he's just giving you answers to hopefully in his mind get you to stop asking him questions. But so yeah, he doesn't really seem to notice what's going on outside the cell.
Okay. With that being the case, I'm going to tap the... Can I deactivate the force field with my command on this side?
Yeah, I would say you could probably just hit your comm badge and do it that way. Like I said, your comm badge can't be removed from you by anyone but you, unless you die or is knocked unconscious, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do that and step out and reactivate the force field in doing so, just so I know what's going on out here.
Okay. When you finally get outside of the quote-unquote soundproof cell, you hear the Cardassian woman say, "I want to see my son," and of course the half-Bolian security chief is basically saying, "No, because you tried to kill him." Essentially, it's that going back and forth.
Okay. I'm going to sort of direct to the security chief whilst looking at her, saying, "Do you need any help, Chief, at all?"
He just shakes his head and looks over at you and says, "Nah, she's been causing trouble since she's got here. She'll be quiet for about half an hour and then start yelling about her son or her husband. Or honestly, I think she's just trying to cause problems."
Okay. I'm going to advance over to her cell, and I'm going to just turn to him going, "The other cells are on privacy at the moment as well, aren't they? They can't hear what's being said out here."
Yeah, I mean, we can make that the case. If not, it's no big deal.
Yes, if you can do so. I'd like to speak to her directly now.
Okay, do you want to go inside the cell?
No, I'm gonna stay on the outside and stuff at the moment.
Okay, so he'll just make it so that these guys can't hear what's being said.
Yeah.
Okay, so she looks at you and she says, "Oh, you're not afraid of him, but you're afraid of me. How nice."
Afraid of who?
Well, you went in his cell, but you're not coming in mine. That's no fair.
That's not the situation I'm looking at. The reason that I want to speak to you like this is you, I'm afraid, are a suspect in an attempted murder. Now, as it stands, I think that it makes more sense that there are as many witnesses at the same time, beyond a recording of anything you say, to make sure that any situation that may lead to a trial is as above board as possible. I don't think it's right to potentially infringe on your freedoms.
She starts laughing. She's like, "Infringe on my freedoms, darling. We've got way more at stake here than that, trust me."
Okay, what do we have at stake?
Everything. What else? What else is new? If the Kelvins don't kill us, the Infamous will take over the galaxy. So what does it matter what we do?
Well, you seem to decide that it was worth stabbing your son, so...
When you say that, she slams her fist against the force field and she says, it was an accident. And she screams it, but you can tell by the way she said it that She was going to say something else. She says it was, and then she kind of pauses and says it was an accident, as if either she doesn't quite believe it herself or she's trying to throw you off in some way.
Okay, good. Okay, what is it then? If you tell us, then at least we know what's happening here a little bit more.
You won't know until it happens, trust me. I could tell you and it wouldn't even matter.
Well, if that's the case, you may as well tell us. Or does it matter?
She begins pacing in her cell back and forth. And she has a sort of malicious grin, and she looks over at you and she says, "Tell me, Mr. Weber, that is your name, isn't it?"
I've been using it for quite a while, yes.
Well, I would just like to know about your parents. Are they still alive?
Why would you like to know about my parents? And I'm not going to keep that from you, but just out of curiosity.
Because, they say that family is the most powerful thing in the universe. And, love conquers all and all that good stuff. But if pressure is applied in the right places, I think people are capable of anything. Don't you agree?
Are you talking about blackmail? Or threats to lives of loved ones?
I suppose in a vague sense. If I
How
could...
does your
Sorry, go ahead.
son? How does your son factor into that?
I can't tell you that.
I'm sure you can. Just open your mouth and say some words.
She laughs and she says, "Okay, the only reason why the Infamous has not taken over this galaxy is because there are certain Alliance personnel, specifically Starfleet, who keep making treaties. Now, this treaty today that perhaps could be made or perhaps not is not exactly in the best interest of the Infamous. And let's just say that there are two factions or rising from within the Infamous. One does want peace, and the other not so much. Unfortunately, there is no version of the Infamous here in this universe yet, but one of those sides will win out. And when that happens, it doesn't matter if the Kelvins are here or not, because somebody is going to die. A lot of people are going to die. I don't care if I die, but there are others You may.
Okay. But you, I would assume, would like your son to survive. If you say the stabbing of him was an accident.
Once again, you bring up her son, and she kind of spins around and clenches her fist and stares at the wall away from you. And she says, "Yes, that is what I said. An accident."
Out of interest, was this accident something that occurred because you were not intending to stab him, or you were forced to?
He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I did what had to be. And then she stops herself and she shakes her head and she says, "It doesn't matter."
What do you mean he was at the wrong place and at the wrong time? As in, your meeting with my two esteemed colleagues, and I point with thumbs over both shoulders?
She turns around, faces you again. She says, "Ah, yes, that. If security hadn't been ramped up twice, once for the diplomatic summit, and then second because my own son decided to snitch on me for being here, then the meeting may have not have had to happen at all. We were simply trying to figure out our best way of." And then as she's talking, she just freezes and stares like more behind you than at you, and her eyes just like freeze open, and her mouth is hanging open. And then she stops talking and then turns away and she says, "Like I said, it doesn't matter."
I'm not going to have a tricord on me. That obviously I didn't go into that cell with one. Such, can I grab one from the table if I put it down?
Sure.
And such.
Yeah.
I want to do a quick scan because obviously it now looks like I've seen two people who seem to be interacting with visual stimuli that I cannot see. And I just want to run a scan for anything that could be visually hitting their visual cortexes that we can't observe and such, be it something going directly into their retinas or whatever and such.
So there's two things you could possibly scan for. Either there's something in the environment that you want to scan for, or there's something in them. Which one specifically?
I want to do environment first, just because that's going to be the least intrusive.
Okay. So that'll be reason science, difficulty 2.
Okay. I will buy 1 dice.
Okay.
And I don't think I've got any now. No focuses that could really apply.
All right, so you got it. You don't detect anything in the atmosphere or the environment that would contribute to some sort of hallucination or anything like that. So next, you want to move towards her?
Yes.
All right, that's going to be a reason science difficulty 3.
Okay. I'm going to buy 2 dice, but I will buy them with threat.
All right. So I am back up to 8 threat. Oh yes, I was gonna increase the complication range. You know what? Mr. Gakel sees what you're doing, and he's like, "That's a good idea," and he grabs a tricorder for an assist.
Okay.
What I say it was insight. Oh, reason science. Okay. It actually could have been multiple things, but since you already rolled it, I'll just go ahead and roll his insight. I'm gonna keep his. His insight science or his reason science is not gonna be good.
Hopefully, for the most fun, it'll be a complication.
Right. Well, he's got a focus, so that applies at least. Oh wow, he got it. So you're able, with your tricorders, you're kind of able to triangulate. There is something within her brain, and you're detecting some kind of not subspace, because it's not subspace, but it's another sub-dimension like subspace that connects whatever that is to something that is also within Ivan. And you can tell that there is a communications kind of system set up. So when he was reading the wall, he was reading a message, and she too is seeing things similar to that.
Okay. I'm going to turn to the security chief and just say to him, okay, we have a major security breach on this station now. We need to do something quickly.
All right, I'm going to jump from there to somewhere else because that's a good place for you guys to stew. All right, let's see. All right, there is an announcement. It says the diplomacy conference will recommence in 20 minutes. I repeat, the diplomacy conference will recommence in 20 minutes. So I will ask everybody here, since everybody is involved in that mostly, do you want to just fast forward at 20 minutes, or do you want to continue role playing? And then once 20 minutes happens in real life, I will basically say, okay, stop what you're doing. Whoever has to be at the conference needs to stop whatever they're doing and go to the conference. That won't really obviously affect anyone who's not going to the conference, but for those of you who are, it would. So make a vote. Fast forward or just continue role playing until 20 minutes.
What about the scene between Lasgo and his mom?
Well, she's still in the brig right now, so that's one of the reasons why I'm asking. Because if we just keep role playing in 20, until the 20 minutes happens, then it could be a potentiality that she's released or something, or maybe Lasco is allowed to go and see her in the brig. That's highly unlikely considering security protocol, but it is still possible. Whereas if we fast forward it, then that just takes away 20 minutes that could have been built up, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But the pro to fast forwarding at 20 minutes is that gives you guys more time to try to build this trait and gain allies in the diplomacy conference. So there's pros and cons to both.
Well, since Lasco is staying, since he's not able to move, I'll obviously stay with him in the infirmary.
Well, I will give you this bit of information since that might affect your decision. You have been asked to give a report at the conference about Lasco's condition.
Ah, I see. Yeah. Is that an order, though?
Well, when the admiral of Starfleet Security asks you to do something, and you're a lieutenant commander, I don't know how you want to. If you want to take that as a request, that's fine, but there may be consequences. Like you're not getting court-martialed or anything, but yeah, it's up to you.
All right. Well, okay, then I'll just look at the chief medical officer, and I'll tell him to basically, as long as Lasco stays here, he should stay here with whatever security he has, so that no other attempt is done against Lasco. And I will look at Eli and tell him to basically come join me at the conference, because we're gonna need witnesses, right? So he could be a good witness as well.
Well, that's the other thing. If you don't fast forward and you do the 20 minutes, then that will give Weber time to talk to you, the witnesses, before you have to present anything at the conference. And there's also the possibility of if Dr. Tall is at the conference giving this presentation, you could have the investigator, Mr. Weber, there with you to help. So, like I said, there's pros and cons to both, but it's up to you guys, because there's complete likelihood that Weber finishes everything in 20 minutes and interrogates everyone. Yeah, he just found out that there's a major security breach, but that doesn't really pertain to the actual investigation. So he could still lock down the base and then go to the conference and do everything like that. Or it may take him longer than 20 minutes to interrogate people and to ask questions of witnesses and things like that, and to look at the records and reports in the system. And maybe when you get there, then you don't have that assist because he's still doing that. So either way is likely. It's just a matter of if you got it's up to you which one you want to do.
Okay, what do you think, Weber?
I'm easy going. I'm I'm happy to continue. I mean, obviously, it makes as much sense if you wanted to do some stuff and then interact with whatever's happening there. But I'm happy to do whatever. I'm even happy if you want to continue something and don't involve either of my characters at the moment, because I've just done a huge chunk of roleplay and I don't want to take it away from other people and
Yeah.
such.
Yeah, I get you. Mac, what do you think?
Well, I think it would be a good idea to, if Doctor, if Z's character is pretty much going to have to give a report on him, it would make more sense if Weber is there with him.
Okay. So, if I'm reading that correctly, just continue for 20 minutes and giving you guys time for, to investigate, and then have Weber show up for, the assist, basically, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so I think that's probably the best way to go. So it's 7:26. I hate rounding. Okay, good. It just changed. So I'm gonna say at 7:50 for me, in about 20 minutes is when the hard stop happens for whatever you guys are doing. Obviously, if there's something important going on, then that takes priority. But for the conference has to continue. So um, So that being said, I will jump to River real quick. River, you have been in this wormhole for what feels like an hour. Your chronometer tells you it's been like 5 minutes, maybe less. Um, but you can see the end of it. You can see the end of the the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. However, you remember like 45 minutes ago, you saw that light growing then too, and it somehow is still, it seems to be still in the same, distance. So it seems that having a wormhole near a black hole messes with time. Who would have knew? Um, but you do know that it's not much longer now before the shuttle comes out of this wormhole to wherever the destination is. Is there anything you want to do real quick before that happens?
Uh, well, I don't think there's much I can do. Make sure my suit's nice and sealed.
Yeah, the nanites were kind enough to not completely rip a hole through your suit, so you got that going for you. Um, make an insight, science, or medicine roll. You'll probably go science, but yeah, make an insight, science, or medicine roll. The ship is still it's not falling apart as fast because you're not no longer in a black hole, or you're no longer going towards being pulled towards a black hole. You're just in a wormhole, and for the most part, that just means everything is kind of stable-ish, but it's still falling apart very slowly. And you also notice, as you look at a console, that it is reading one life sign on your shuttle.
Oh, that don't seem good. Uh, I'm assuming that's just me.
That would be a likely assumption. The scanners don't read your nanites.
Yeah. So I'm traveling with a dead body in the back. Is that what you're telling
That's what
me?
the scanner's telling you. Do you want to get up and go check? I mean, you're not really piloting anymore. The ship's just going forward.
Yeah, I'll go check. I'll be
Okay.
very cautious though.
Yeah, as you're walking, the ground like cracks and then really quickly heals back up. But then you get to this closet that you remember Trask was in, and you open it, and it looks like there's a gigantic bloody gash on the back of his head where it seems his head just was knocked right into the bulkhead. Yeah, and you can't really check for a pulse, being you're in a giant suit. If you want to grab a tricorder, you could do some scans though.
Yeah, I will. I'll do a tricorder and do some scans.
Okay. Reason medicine, difficulty 1. The tricorder says he's alive. No, I'm just kidding. Well, he's dead, so that's one thing you are able to figure out, but you're not able, and beyond the obvious bash in the head, you aren't able to determine any other injuries or anything like that. It seems like it's just the rocking of the ship and being torn apart and then put back together, and just everything that happened is basically just all of that happening at once just kind of ended up bludgeoning him to death in the back. There was obviously no inertial, or at least if there were inertial dampeners, they weren't doing very good. They weren't doing very well. So yeah, it looks like he's a goner.
So he wasn't buckled in?
I don't know. Did he say he was buckled in last time? Because I don't actually remember.
I think he was just like
in a closet,
standing
right?
up.
Yeah. I think he just jumped in a closet. But yeah, either way, he's definitely no longer in the land of the living.
Oh man, this is gonna be more paperwork. Okay. So that sucks. I guess I'll have to explain this when I get back, if I get back.
Make a fitness security check, difficulty 5. I'll say control too, if you prefer. Control or fitness security, difficulty 5. You've got 2 momentum. I'm going to spend 1 threat to increase the complication range by 1.
I don't know if I should spend momentum. Anyone?
I mean, if you want to succeed in not being thrown around the shuttle, I would suggest it.
Yeah,
Do it.
I
Spend
guess
it.
I'll spend it.
Yeah, you got if you spend 2, then you'll have four dice. You also have your determination, which you haven't used in probably 3 years.
What is that? Determination. Holy crap. Throwing words at me like that?
So that's a critical success. It gives you a critical success. So that would be 2 successes. So what that would do is if you use it before, you can say you have your critical success if you have a value that applies. If you use it after, then you can re-roll your dice. I think there's another one, but I can't remember what it is. I think it's like it takes away an injury. Which if you don't re-roll or use as a critical success, you will definitely take an injury. So let me look at your values real quick. Something out there is calling big fan of living. I think you should use big fan of living. Yeah,
okay.
I would definitely re-roll that because only getting 2 out of 4, yeah, and maybe give me threat if you want an extra. I don't know. It's up to you, but yeah, I would re-roll that and.
Okay, so I'll re-roll with determination. And what if I give you threat? What does that do?
It serves like momentum. It just gives you another dice.
Oh yeah, I'll do that too.
All right. So now you got 5 dice. And whoops, not 8 momentum. Ignore that. I'm up to 8 threat. That's what I meant. You're still at 0 momentum. All right. So go ahead and make your 5 dice roll. Your re-roll. That's better. 3, 4, 5. Because I was definitely gonna have you die and then come back to life with your nanites, but I don't have to do that now. 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, you get slammed all over the back of the shuttle as the shuttle comes out of this wormhole, and you can feel the natural you could feel because like at the moment when you're in the shuttle, gravity was, I mean, you still had gravity, but it was really really low because the shuttle was in really bad condition. But then once you somehow, for some reason, wherever you are, the gravity's a lot better. So you're either on a planet or you're in some sort of maybe a bigger ship or a space station or something where there's gravity, because you get thrown around and then you just hit the deck. You do not take any major damage. Like, you get a few cuts and bruises, but your nanites immediately start to heal you. And then you look around and yeah, the ship is basically like in 3 or 4 different pieces, like 3 or 4 different big pieces. And it's just total darkness, and all you can hear is like sparks and things, smoke and explosions from where your ship crashed into wherever the hell you are. Is there anything you want to do real quick before we jump to the other guys?
Yeah, so it's total darkness.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. I guess I'll just, get down in the fetal position and hug my knees for a couple of seconds, and that's it.
All right. So back on Zip, whatever, on the base. Jita, you are approached by Luzas, the Vorta who's in charge of the Dominion. And where is Jita still in the conference room?
Yep.
Okay. And this shouldn't, if you're worried about it, being another long stretch, I don't think it will. I guess it depends on, obviously the interaction between them. But she walks over to you. What does Jita do as she notices her walking towards her? And is Jita like out, away from the others, or is she like with a big group of people? Like, where's Jita in the grand scheme of things?
I think she's probably just sat down.
Okay, so she'll walk around Captain Crusher and the Breen Thought and walk over to you. And do you react or say anything before she gets to you, or as she gets to you, or is Jita just gonna wait for her to say something?
I'm just going to look up and smile.
Okay. She kind of shudders when you do that, and she tries to smile back, but then realizes she really doesn't want to smile, and she says, "There's something we must discuss in private."
Okay.
And she kind of glances over to like a corner and moves over there, hoping you kind of follow.
Yeah, I do.
All right, and just standing in a corner by herself now.
So and then we just mouth each other and do hand signals to communicate instead from across the room.
So when you walk over, she says, "You must be wondering why it seems I have betrayed the infamous power."
I have theories as to what your actions are, but if you wish to confirm whether I am correct or not, I'd greatly appreciate it.
It's about the Regent Dren. It's I only recently found out, and I'm sorry that well, he has his own time travelers out fighting the time travelers that Starfleet uses to kind of try to fix the timeline. And through this kind of subterfuge, a report was meant for the Citadel, your um, your institution, but it was sent to me instead. I'm guessing that this report was not supposed to be seen by you. And she hands you over a whatever the hell a Dominion data pad looks like, and on it
Yeah.
you see plans for Orion, slavery, and elimination of all males.
Okay.
And she says that's not the only thing. Regent Dren knows where the AI is for the Infamous, and he plans on destroying it so that he can claim to be the new version of the Infamous. That is why she kind of takes a step back and lowers her head in kind of like reverence. She says, "That is why I did what I did. I believe that in order for the Infamous power to survive," and her like mouth kind of quivers, like she's definitely afraid of what she's about to say. She says, "The Regent cannot survive."
Very quickly, just so I know context-wise, does Jida know where the AI is at the moment
No.
herself? I
In
can't
fact,
remember.
Regent Dren didn't even know until like recently, like within the last day or two. Like he was
Yeah.
actively searching for it, and he just
Oh
found
no,
it.
no, I wasn't asking that. It was just more along the lines of did she that? Because obviously she's been in essentially the same solar system as it at the same time, but I didn't know if she knew where it was and stuff like that. But yeah, no, that's fine.
No, Gita wasn't over there, was she?
She was in the same solar system, wasn't she? If I remember correctly, wasn't it the same games? Or am I confusing things?
I probably because the only game that he was in the one
Yeah,
shot.
no, it is. Yeah, I am confusing them. Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
So she and on the she tells Jita, you know, which solar system it was and the circumstances with Dren 92's AI and everything like that. And she says, if we can get the AI running, he will serve as the infamous in this universe, and he will have the command codes necessary to make the decisions. There will probably still be a civil war within the infamous power, but hopefully that won't happen until after we defeat the Kelvins.
how did you get hold of this? Obviously, you say that the information seems to have come to you by accident, but how do you think this happened?
Which part? The slavery of your planet or the
No,
traitor that is the
the
regent?
data being sent to you by accident.
Well, that was the Orion stuff. The regent being the traitor is something that I overheard, spoken only by one of his trusted, a changeling. If you know this changeling, he only has one changeling servant, but I believe she has been recently killed. Either way, I overheard her say it, and me being a Vorta, obviously did not really care that I overheard it. So that is how I know what his true plans are.
Okay. Well, thank you for being honest with me. I want to do a read of her to make sure that
Yeah.
I think she's being honest with me.
Yeah.
Even though I'm saying I believe she's being honest, but depending how obviously this goes, obviously will be
Yeah.
down to whether I'm actually telling the truth or not in how I react.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be Insight Command, and it's going to be contested. Or no, it'll be Insight Command for you, and then for her, it'll be Presence Command.
Okay. And
I'm going to spend Threat to get more dice, by the way.
okay. Focus of reading people. And how much momentum? We've got 0 momentum left, haven't we,
Yep.
and stuff.
Yep.
So, you've done. You've bought 1 die, haven't you?
Yep. With 1 threat.
So I am going to buy 2 die with threat.
All right. So I'm up to
Because
9
we have no
threat.
momentum.
Yeah.
So yeah, insight and command.
Nice. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so you got 1 more than her, so no momentum gained. Is that how it works, or do you get the momentum but you win? Either, I don't know. I'll give you the momentum either way.
So basically, if it goes over the contested,
Right.
whatever goes over
Whoever
can be
gains the
momentum
most.
that I can either spend immediately
Okay,
or
yeah, that makes sense.
or for more information, or obviously can be pooled.
Okay.
Can you tell me? Do I read that she seems to be telling the truth first before I decide if I want to spend momentum now?
Yeah. She everything she said is reading true. I mean, obviously you can't verify like every single
Yeah.
detail, but like she definitely believes everything she told you. But you can tell that she's not telling you everything. Which, to be fair, in this kind of atmosphere and in this kind of institution, that is
Yeah.
not out of the ordinary. You can tell that she was trying to put on a she was trying to look more supplicant and reverent than she actually is, not to trick you, but because she really wants you to know that whatever happens, she's on your side, but she's also on the Federation side. Like she's not going to betray the Federation for you, but
Yeah.
she would betray the Regent for the Federation and for Jita. So basically, as long as Jita sides with the Federation in this treaty, she will side with Jita. And
That's
the
cool.
Dominion
Okay.
is so you remember in DS9 with the Dominion War with the Breen. I mean, the Dominion almost had to have the Breen in order to even come close to winning the war.
Yeah.
So the Breen were a really powerful ally. With the Breen and the Dominion both on the side of the Federation, this would put the infamous power at just under the strength of the combined forces, because they still have Tholia and other really powerful. They still have the Borg, so it would put the infamous power right in the position basically that the Enduring Alliance wants.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay. Okay, yeah. In that case, yeah. Pool of momentum. I don't need to spend it for anything immediately.
Okay. All right. So, Dr. Tall, oh wait, no. Is Dr. Tall like gathering her medical data for the presentation? What is she doing exactly?
Yeah, I think she's basically writing a small report about what she saw. Of course, she doesn't know much. She just saw the fight and
Mm-hmm.
put the attackers, behind bars and stuff like that, and then took Lasco with her. So that was more or less it.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that would probably take like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Uh, did Tennyson ever go to this ship, or is he still wandering about looking at people?
He's still wandering around looking at people,
Okay. He doesn't find
being
any. Sorry. Go ahead.
being highly suspicious.
Yeah, I bet. But he doesn't find anything. Actually, roll insight security. We'll see if he overhears any of Jita's conversation, because that would be a really useful bit of information to have during a conference. So yeah, insight security. I'm actually going to say. Oh, okay. I was gonna say the difficulty was 3, but then I was gonna say it was 4 because of Jita's role with insight. You know what? Jita, roll me a presence command or presence security, either one. You've got to beat 3 in order to not have it be heard by anybody. If you get 3, then only Tennyson overhears. And I don't know if Jita would care about that, but that's up to you. And I think you got a momentum. Also, you're muted.
Gonna buy 2 dice, one momentum and one success. Which I had said twice. I wasn't sort of saying twice thinking why is he not listening? He was just going, oh, I'm just going to say that's what I'm going to do.
Right. Well, I wasn't even looking at Discord. I was looking at Roll20, and I was like, I'm talking a lot, and I don't hear his voice, so he's probably muted. So then yeah. So I kind of just figured you were muted. Okay. So you're gonna buy what?
I'm going to buy 2 dice, one with threat, one with momentum.
All right. Let's see how this plays. Oh my god. 2, 3, 4. So nobody, and you have 2 momentum. So the Federation's enemy got you guys 2 momentum. But yeah, so nobody heard that. Tennyson, you overheard some things that admirals and generals were saying and diplomats, but you didn't hear what Jita was saying.
Okay.
All right, and Tal is gathering the thing. Weber, let's again quickly do some. What does Weber want to do? And we're gonna assume that the whole nanite or the whole thing in her brain that's giving her instructions, like that's going to be taken care of. So you don't have to waste time on that. So what does Weber want to do investigation wise?
I will be honest. Weber's attitude at the moment is that there is a major breach of security that, at the end of the day, we probably need to know where that transmission is dimensionally going more than anything else. Because in the immediacy, it's like he wants to sort of find if there's a way to hack into it or track it and stuff like that. Because if it's able to find out what that information is, that's going to possibly yield all the information that might be relevant for the investigation as well.
Okay, so he's pretty much set on that, and he's not concerned with the witnesses or Lasco or anything, right?
I don't think. Well, the thing is, it's such a security breach. It's a case of it's a security breach that needs to be dealt with quickly, but also it can possibly resolve the same element of investigation anyway and stuff.
Yeah, no, you're right. So we're gonna jump to the conference that's just starting. However, I will say that Starfleet has discovered this before. It is a nanite that is used by the Infamous to control subjects, and they have policies in place. So basically, lockdown is going on, but it's not a lockdown where it's like, oh no, I have to stay in this large area with lots of air. It's a lockdown to where it's airtight. Like there is no, like nothing can get in because it's a nanite. It's tiny. It can go through. It can go through skin. So force fields are coming up in like 3 different locations in the brig. So you're basically contained with the security chief for the foreseeable future. You have air, but only enough to breathe, and eventually it will run out because they're not going to keep replenishing it because that's a way that the nanite could escape. So this is something that has to be taken care of like immediately. But first, we're going to go handle some diplomacy. Let's see. All right, so everyone starts gathering back to their locations and stuff like that. I think that's everybody. So who's here? Tennyson, Jita, Salak is left and disappeared. Oh, Dr. Tal, you're showing up too, so I'll grab your thing.
Yep. Alongside Eli. So.
All right. Let's see. Of course, I closed that folder. All right. So Admiral Riker stands up and says, due to the nature of situation going on, the Vice President has chosen to take his leave. The Secretary of State, whose name is definitely written somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? The Secretary of State is definitely I think it was a half Vulcan, half Argelian, but I don't remember his name. But he is going to be speaking on his behalf, and we will begin trying to build a diplomatic trait between us so that we can survive the Kelvins. But first, I would like Miss Lieutenant Commander Tall, give us your report, and it can be a preliminary report just involving Lasco's health if you don't want to give us everything. But we just want to know what happened, and then we're going to figure out how we can stop that from happening again.
Of course, Admiral. Thank you for inviting me, and good day, everyone.
Good day.
So in the last couple of days, I went to the infirmary. I was trying to see what's going on around there, and of course, help create some items to resist the Kelvin incursions. And of course, I saw some device that some Federation officers were working on, Ensigns, I believe, and they said that that device would be useful for against the incursions. So they also told me to look up Lieutenant Commander Nakada, who is a good chief engineer, as you all know, who could probably help me with building the device. Now, I looked him up, and I went to where he was at the time, and I saw him alongside a Cardassian counselor. Sorry, that was a different one. Never mind that. I saw him alongside a Cardassian woman with, as well as Commander Lasco, I believe his name is.
Yep.
And somehow they had injured him, put him on the ground. So and of course my friend here, he's also a medical officer, Eli. He can witness. He can be a witness to all of this. He was with me. We basically apprehended the suspects. We put him in the brig, and we took Lasco with us to the infirmary. We patched him up. He's still there, as far as I know. There are some security guards, of course, in the area, so hopefully nothing will happen to him now. As far as we know from his injuries, it was a Cardassian poison. So we created an antidote, and we stabilized his wounds, and thankfully that helped get him back. That is my report on him.
Good work, Doctor.
Thank you. Yes. As far as the one last thing, of course. As far as the security aspects go, I have no idea who attacked him or why. I've heard that it was his mother, but I have not questioned him yet. That is not my place. That is all.
Understood. We are in the process of that investigation. And another thing that I would like to say is, and as he says that, the lights around the room just begin glowing red, and an alarm klaxon begins to sound, and then an announcement comes over the intercom that says, "All hands, this is the base commander. We have discovered that our base has been infected by nanites that the infamous power uses. All members of the infamous power are to be detained until further notice. All sections will be sealed off by hazmat force fields, and oxygen will be depleted from the entire base in less than a day unless this situation is rectified. Base commander out." And is there anything anyone wants to do really quick? So when I mean really quick, I mean like, oh, I frown or something. Because if you start doing tasks, we'll be here forever, and I do have to go in 5 minutes. So does anyone have anything they want to do or say really quick before I jump to River and finish his little section?
So Lasgo is still laying on the bed.
Yep.
He goes, "Can I still call my mother or not?"
Probably the doctor there is going to tell him no. He's especially now. So that's probably out of game or out of character. That's probably gonna have to wait till next game.
He'll probably go, "Well, where's the other doctor? The beautiful troll."
Dr. Tall is giving a report in the conference room.
Can can you patch me over to her?
Is this gonna be a long conversation? Because, like I said,
No.
well,
He's
right,
like,
right now communications. Although you can use communications, they're being very due to the nature of the nanites. They're being monitored and seriously restricted since nanites can pretty much hack into any communication system. So unless this is like a high priority thing, then they're probably not going to let you.
he goes, well, I thought to give a heads up to the information that I had. I know my mom. He goes, "I know my mother is working for the infamous."
Well, yeah, they
And I
figured that
think,
out already.
yeah,
I mean, I think everyone figured it out when she first showed up to the station on Jita's ship, anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll get more into that next game. For right now, though, Ensign River Owen, you, how long do you stay hidden in the remnants of your shuttle? Like, more than half of your vision is outside the exterior of this shuttle, so it's not like the shuttle is protecting you much from anything. But yeah, so how long do you stay there?
Not too long. I would grab, I don't know, see if I can't grab any kind of data from the shuttle and see what else I can find or do.
So you start rummaging around in the computer, and it's giving it. I mean, the ship is pretty much kaput. It gives you like flickering information about star charts and things. Like you could tell you're back in your own galaxy, which may be bad depending on obviously if that wormhole survived. But and you're definitely within some kind of structure. Give me an insight security roll. Difficulty. There's two momentums, so I'm gonna say difficulty 3. You should probably use those two momentums since y'all aren't gonna have them next game anyway.
Okay, yeah, I'll take them.
Okay. Nice. Somehow you still get a momentum back, but you look around, and inside this place, you. Let me see if I can actually. Oh yeah. Um. Oh, that wrong one. Make sure. Inside this place, you see blood splattered everywhere, and several individuals that are about twice the size of a human, so 10 to 12 feet tall, marching back and forth, doing various tasks, tentacles hanging off their face and off their limbs. As you realize, if this is the Milky Way galaxy and there's only one well, actually, I don't even know if your character would know this. I think your character's been asleep for so long, but you do realize that you're in, and I think wasn't River on the Philadelphia when they encountered the Kelvins in the other galaxy before, so he would know.
I don't know. I can't remember that.
That was a long time ago. But yeah, you.
I believe he was.
Yeah, I know Dark was there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
He
so
was
Dark,
there.
yeah, Mac, you were there too with Tala. So yeah, but I would just say you recognize, even if you weren't there, just the data that you would have, everyone would have had to know what the Kelvins look like, or at least their foot soldiers. So you're seeing these 12-foot tall beasts kind of marching back and forth, doing various things, and that's when one of them turns with 8 eyeballs staring at you on his face and looks directly in your direction. And that is where we're going to end.
Well, damn.
You're like, could it get any
Nice.
worse? Yes, it does.
Yeah, looks like